Okay, I think I'm live. It's not always super clear over here. I'm used to a different scenario when I start my show, so I kind of just take the live emblem at its best and go from there. So, hello, cousins. Thank you for joining me, hanging out. I just finished up an episode of Social Contract, and it was just me. It was a solo episode today, so I I'm kind of now here to decompress a little bit from doing that. So take a couple of breaths and we'll hang out and see what's going on. I don't know. I've been doing this for a few weeks, but I'm still kind of confused about how everything works and what's going on and if I show up and if I can be seen. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But I do like to, on Social Contract and on this, I do like to talk to the chat. So if you want to talk to me, I will talk to you. And that's how I do. That's what I do. Um, oh my goodness. Uh, yeah, it's nice to just kind of like catch my breath a little bit, but I get to come here for a little bit after the other show, and then I get a little more mileage out of the makeup. So hope the makeup's looking good. Hope everything's looking good. I get to kind of chill and before I go wash it down. I can feel it. Like I don't like the way that it feels. It drives me crazy. I can feel it on my face, especially the longer it's been on there. So by the time I've done that show and then I wrap this one up, I'm pretty much ready to get it off my face. But it's fun to at least like feels a little more economical, a little more responsible in these trying times to be able to get a little more mileage out of it. And I go to so much trouble. Look how great it looks. Okay, so yeah. So as ever, I'm joined by Saint Swayze back here who watch over me. He's my bro here, and I like to kind of touch base about. I've been doing this. I think it's about 6 or 7 weeks now. The first couple of times was pretty much a disaster, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. It's a completely different setup than what I'm used to ordinarily. So when I look at it, I'm just like, okay, I guess. So I think I'm running live. I think everything's working the way it should. Last week I was having a good time and kind of in the moment, and then I ended up talking for an hour, blowing out my voice completely, and then ended up I was an hour and 2 minutes, and then I ended up being 2 minutes too long to be able to put it on my TikTok page. So it's on my YouTube though. If you were just dying to see it, you can see it on my YouTube. Anyway, uh, I'm already kind of having some issues here, because of like the air quality is such shit that it's like, I'm sounding pretty bad just after doing the one show. So we'll go on for definitely not that long again, but we'll go on for a while and see how long it holds out. So yeah, if you're new to my orbit, I basically just got back on TikTok within the last month, and I've been doing all kinds of different things there. It was like it's kind of a love-hate thing, I guess, or just kind of a like-hate thing, I guess. I don't know, but I'm back on there making all kinds of stuff, all kinds of different things got going on, and I like to kind of warm up these chats by talking about if you're new to my deal, I'm an author, an artist, filmmaker, maker of the things, doer of the stuff. I do a little bit of everything, so I have a lot going on, a lot of irons in the fire. I make films. Like it's not just like little randos. I do films on TikTok as well. I do all kinds of stuff. So, and I put out something pretty much one thing a day at least about whatever's going on in my life or whatever I'm doing or seeing or reviewing or things about my books and my art, all kinds of stuff like that. I have 2 books currently on the market. One is called Another New World, and that is a nonfiction novel about Buster Keaton in the latter half of his life, as well as that of his family. So if you are into film history or history in general, or just like people, it's not like a standard biography. which just rubbed some people the wrong way. But I don't really know how many more biographies you need about this man out there, so I went with what I wrote it from the point of view of like a novelized story, because it is a companion to my film "Oh Buster, Where Art Thou," which you can watch free on YouTube. And this was like, it took 13 years of research and work to make the movie and to make the book. And then there were times, when I did all this by talking to like his remaining friends and family and historians and stuff. So I was able to make, in doing just tons and tons of research. So I was able to complete like and create this picture of what he was doing and what was going on in his life. And sometimes I knew what he was doing on certain days down to the minute. So, yeah, I ultimately was able to create like in my world of how I make things. There was no real reason for me to do another biography when I could do it in a novel format, which allowed for a more realistic portrayal of them, of the people involved, and that was more to my skill set. It was a very rigid production. I had to adhere to a lot. I couldn't make things up like you do when you're an author. You can't play God when there's facts and dates involved and people. So there was that was something that was difficult for me, and I don't necessarily see myself going down that road again, because I need more freedom. And then my second book that I put out, it's called The Big Bad Wolf. It is a horror thriller mystery combo. There's clues hiding everywhere. I do my own cover art, and there's clues in the cover art. I mean, there are clues from page one all the way, like, and things happening all the way to the end. So it is um, if you like, when I tell people there's horror elements of it, like they either think that I'm saying that it is splatterpunk and they want that, or that I'm saying it's splatterpunk and they don't want that. And what I'm saying is it's not. It is not splatterpunk in any way, shape, or form. It is very much in the style of kind of an old time ghost story. It's not a ghost story, and there's no werewolves, despite the title having the word wolf in it. There's been some confusion about that, and so it's meant to, there's a mystery to uncover. There's dual timelines going on. It's set in 1985 and 1975. And that one I was allowed to be able to be more free with, because that was a completely, like a story that was completely specific to me. It is based on true events, or true, yeah, like basically, yeah. And I don't need to get more specific than that. I don't want to ruin anything. But I've had people guess at it and say like, oh, it must have been this or that. And like anytime anybody in a review has said something about what they thought it was about, they've been wrong. And also I've had a lot of people make allusions to the Little Red Riding Hood story, and that there's no connection there either. But if you put on your memory hat and think about what was something that not in here. I'm having an issue. I'm gonna go off and come back on in here real quick. So hang on here. I'm having some sort of, I don't know. I don't have to. It's fine, I guess. All right. Well, whatever. Anyways, I thought something was not working, but it's working. It's fine. Anyway, so there's that, and it's it'll give you a good scare. It's set in different timelines. There's two sets of characters going on, so there's a mystery to solve. It's got scary elements, thrilling elements. It's a kind of a combo platter on that, and those are both available now through Amazon, and in whichever format you like. They're on Kindle Unlimited as well. I also have tons of artwork on Redbubble, um, whether it be like my magical realism style paintings or vintage pattern style stuff, psychedelia. That's all me, and that helps. Anytime you get involved with making any of those purchases or doing any of that kind of stuff, that makes it so I can continue to live and eat and create more stuff, more rad things. So, also, if you want to see what I'm doing on TikTok, then you can follow me there. So there's that as well. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm currently working on I've got a new painting in the works, and I've been putting some progress videos on that, just kind of like some Zen mode things where you can just watch me add some color, like block in some color as I'm going, and that kind of a thing. And I'll continue to do that. I don't like to show like my full like progress, so it's been kind of like here's an angle, there's an angle. That's kind of more what I do. So uh, there's that. And then I've got, and that'll be in the shop hopefully soon. I'm not really anywhere close to finishing it because I'm really dividing my time quite a bit between making TikTok content, painting, and writing, because I'm working on 2 new books with a million more in the works. But currently I'm working on 2 books. One is called the Sorry Charlie, and that was actually my first book that I'm putting, I took off the market, and I'm giving it a kind of a glow up and putting it back on, because I had done that years and years ago, and it really didn't match my methodology of how I do that stuff now. So that's what's that's going to be out sometime. I'd like to say by the end of the year, but I really don't know for sure, because again, I do my own cover art, I do it all myself, I'm very hands-on, I'm an indie. So that's what I'm working on with that. And then I'm also in sort of the structure phase of one called a book called The Brothers Flynn. And that's going to be, you could either read that standalone, but it will ultimately be connected to a series that I'll have coming up after that, which is a Western adventure, type of a situation. And they're the characters in that are genealogically connected to the characters in the historical piece. So they will connect. You can read it alone or you can read it together. And Sorry Charlie is a book that is, it's just kind of out there. It's about at its heart, it's really about like a story about fate and how fate has intervenes in some people's lives. But it's basically just a story about a guy who's been through some shit, and he ultimately like lived very comfortably in his house for 10 years and never left. But after a total lost fire, he had to that he barely escaped with his life. Like things changed, and he has to figure it out from there. So he's got that going on. Like, and he meets people, and it's sort of his reintroduction into the world and figuring out his place in it. And that's his thing. Like, it's funny, it's sad, it deals with recovery from trauma, it deals with some dark shit, but it's a story about a guy who just did things his own way, and about the people that he knows and the people that play a role in his story. And then The Brothers Flynn is a little more, kind of more simple and more complicated at the same time. But basically, it's just about a guy dies, and his last wish is for his 3 grown asshole sons to reconnect and go on a treasure hunt together. So what could go wrong there? And then that's how that happens. So it's that one. I'm not too in the writing phase yet, but I'm really looking forward to getting to it. And I'm in the planning phase and the structure phase. Like, I've got it written in notation form, but it's now as I've got to get into it, and I'm really looking forward to that one. That one's got like both of these last, well, every story basically, but in particular these last 2 stories have had just been like, I've been absolutely deluged with synchronicities happening around both of them that have been really crazy and a lot of fun, and really spurred me on. And I'm excited to be able to get these stories out, get new ones. I've got like a whip list a mile long, so I'm really looking forward to getting to share more of these stories, and do and live up to my calling of making the things and doing the things as an indie. As I always say on these shows, as an indie, I do everything myself, and I am I'm completely beholden to sales and to word of mouth and to shares, and to people getting into my content and into the things I'm doing. So just come into my orbit. That's basically is what I'm saying. Like, come into my orbit and check out like all of the stuff that I'm making and all of the things that I'm doing, because it's really cool and I'm really good at what I do. And it's so much like like you can get like art from me, and you can get books with art in them, and all my books have soundtracks that are that narrate the story or a part of the story in some kind of a way. So there's all kinds of rad stuff that you get when you subscribe to the world of me, and the things that I am doing, and I'm looking forward to. I had been putting off like, because it's really hard. I tend to work to completion, and it's really hard for me to stop working on one thing and start working on another. But I've been really working on that lately, and that's why I've been able to fold painting back in, because it's generally for me one thing or the other. Either I will be writing and trying to write and get something done, or I'll be doing an art and trying to art to get something done, and one has to go, and I really can't function if I'm not doing both. That's like my main thing, because my brain gets sad if I can't do it. So getting painting going again, and getting at the same time as writing is in the same time as making TikTok content. It's slowing the process of everything down faster than it could be, but I'm trying not to focus on throwing everything out and going as fast and as hard as I can, just at one thing all the time. And that's basically where I am at this point. So with that said, I'm really looking forward to having having something having something soon new, in both of those realms, and I want to start painting again regularly too, so I'm hoping to keep that going. And I'm really slow when it comes to painting. Like, I'm not somebody who can do something fast. Like, it just takes a really really long time, and I'm practically doing like pointillist work when I do it. I blow my canvases up to like 300%, and I'm in there like doing like the tiniest like little details, and I'm probably about a quarter of the way through color blocking on my new one, right now. So it takes me forever. I am not fast at painting. I can write a little bit faster, but I tend to paint very very slowly, and I do this magical realism style, mostly portraits, and it's pretty complicated work. You get into it, it's not super super easy to do that. It's really not that big of a surprise that I'm not quick, but I'm definitely not one of these people who could just bust it out and make it happen. That's not at all in my wheelhouse. So I don't really have an ETA of when this will be out and be ready. But if you do go to my Redbubble, you can see some of my other stuff that they've allowed me to use. Some stuff I can put on, some stuff I can't. And then all my socials have it, so you'll ultimately be able to see that. And that's basically like where I'm on everything at this point. Like, I don't use everything because I don't like Instagram. I've got one, I got a Substack, but I don't like it, and I'm on Mastodon, but I don't like it. And so there are places where I am, but primarily it's going to be like TikTok and Tumblr is where I am. I'm OG Tumblr. Like, I'm like, unfortunately, like a ride or die with Tumblr. Tumblr's like the last real website, and that's the way it is. So you will find me there under my own name, and I'm also Million Movie Project, and I've been Million Movie Project for 2,000 years. So there's that as well. And that's just where I am right now. Where I'm at on Sorry Charlie, the reason I even thought that I needed to do anything different to it was because it was just so like out of the, like, written in so far or so long ago, that it was just really written out of the realm of what I do now. Like, my regular methodology was just like, kind of not there. So I wanted to get it to be more in line with how I do things now, how I, do my own covers, how I add soundtracks to things. Because in particular, Sorry Charlie, the character of Charlie, he uses music like spells, basically. Like, he's super fixated on music and media, and he needs that in his life to be able to function, basically. Because Charlie, like, he's not this is a story where it's like I'm having a hard time deciding on like what I want to say publicly about it and what I don't, because there is something very particular about this story that I haven't decided if I'm going to disclose just yet, that has to do with the type of story that it is, the archetypal type of story that it is, I'll say that. But the character of Charlie is like, he's just like, he's a guy who's just been through a lot in his very early life, and has to try to adapt. And when he becomes an adult, um, he he gets in a situation where it's like, okay, well, I've got to fend for myself, I've got to figure things out. And he finds that he lives a really good life, and he can make a really good life for himself, just sequestered away from the world, and just lives inside of his house. And then and until that changes, it's all working for him. And then when he gets onto the outside and starts seeing some different things, he's not necessarily like, phobic about, he's not agoraphobic. It's not that. It's more to the point that he relies on the peace and the structure that living like that gives him. So he's not like, like panic mode all the time. Like, he can go and do things. It's just that, but his history and his trauma and the things that he's been through, um really really affect how he sees the world and what he does when he's out in it, and why he really doesn't want any part of it for the most part. Like, that's like, he needs to be away from it all. And then getting thrust back into that, he's got to find a new way. And then there's, people that he knows and people that he meets, and things just like kind of unfold from there. It's his journey for sure. And he meets, and like, his first day out, he meets a a maid working at the hotel where he's staying, and they kind of instantly become, like, connect. And she's an oddball herself, and but in a different way. It's like, she's got this like life plan, and she believes that she's destined to marry George Clooney. And she thinks that, like, it's totally like normal, and she's fine with it. And he's like, okay, like, and he goes with it. So they bond, they kind of bond over their mutual weirdness. And so you get stories about non-traditional characters, and you get a non-traditional story that's got its roots and some very specific archetypal stuff. And that's where that's coming from. So that makes it kind of hard to categorize. And we've ended up in the writing realm. We're now in a place where it's like, everything needs tropes and themes and categories. And it's like, please, just, it's a fiction story about fiction people doing fiction things. Like, just, that's all. Like, it doesn't have to be that, that doesn't have to be like that complicated, right? Like, it doesn't have to be that hard. I keep seeing like flashing things, and I don't know what they mean. I have zero idea what they mean. No, I don't know what this is. Is that, oh, something just popped up in front of my face. Sorry, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna close it. Okay. No, I'm still here. Sometimes I'm just trying to figure out what the hell is going on, because this thing is just like, there's so many things in front of me right now, instead of just like, go on. Like, that's as it should be. Just like, go on. No. But that's basically where I am. And and then I see all these like flashing notifications, and I don't think they even have anything to do with me, so I don't really even know what's going on at this point. I don't know what this stuff is. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, we're having a good time. Yay. So yeah, so that's where we basically are right now. And there's like, I've changed up the chapter structure because I had a lot longer running chapters with it originally. And I've kind of remixed the order of events so that they make a little more sense. Sometimes I tend to get like lost in conversation and reveal a lot through conversation, so they will tend to drag on a little bit longer than I mean for them to. And this time I've kind of been able to distribute action and conversation a little bit better, and just kind of firm the structure up of the story a little bit. And this one, like I said, I hope to have out by the end of the year. I hope that I will be able to do that, and I'm really looking forward to getting to the Brothers Flynn, because I think that's like the first like clear path that I'm going to have to do whatever. Because the Another New World had like really rigid structure. I couldn't deviate from what was going on. I couldn't make things up. I couldn't go off on tangents. I'd find myself doing that, and then I'd have to just delete like tons of shit. So that fucking sucked. And then I would like, so I had to stick to the facts and to the time and to everything going on like really, really heavily. And then Big Bad Wolf was, it's a complicated story in some ways by having two timelines, and I had to adhere to also the periods, the two different time periods, and make sure that everything was going, like it all made sense together, and the stories made sense together, and how the storylines sync up made sense together. And that story is got all the tropes and all the things. That's the story of a guy who's just a guy, and his dad dies, and as he's cleaning out his dad's house, and his dad used to be like this illustrious detective, that was loved by people, but they had a strained relationship and a very distant relationship. So his dad dies, and he ends up having to clean out his house, and stumbles upon like this tons of case files and items for a case that happened 10 years ago of college students who were murdered in a public library in the nearby town. And he doesn't know why his dad has that stuff, why he was hiding it. But the more he goes into it, the more he uncovers what happened. He's reading into the story, he's looking into it, and it just takes over his life. And then at the same time that he's looking into the story there, you also get the perspective of what actually happened to them, and where all that goes. So you get the benefit of both stories happening, and then they ultimately collide, and their problem because it becomes his problem. And that one just I kind of structured like a fireworks, like it's like fireworks are happening, and then it just sort of like grand finale, shit starts going fucking crazy, rocket ride action, and like all the way up to the last page there is shit going on. And that one took 20 years from start to finish to get out. And Sorry Charlie is not much different. The Western trilogy I was talking about, that's forever ago. So when I finally get to the Brothers Flynn, it's going to be like total like fresh start. Like I have it basically all figured out, everything that I want to do, and the characters and how they are, and how they relate to each other. And I'm really looking forward to it, because that's also going to be, I think that's probably, I write multi-genre, but I think what I come from, I'm a millennial, and we grew up on like 80s culture, particularly like mostly 80s media. I talk about this a lot. I talked about it in the show just a little while ago. But the thing the 80s media really did really well, it was, at that point in time, um, movies and shows and stuff had been around a really, really long time. So, in the 80s, they were looking at new horizons and new ways to do stuff. So you see a lot of in 80s movies and TV, you see a lot of stuff that's combined. It's not just funny, it's not just sad. Like if it's a drama, it's not just drama. Like it's got everything is mixed together all the time. Something is funny and sad, and it can be a little bit scary and exhilarating and sexy, and like everything is all happening at once, and it's just like totally like this crazy like mixture of feelings. And I think that's where a lot of my inspiration comes out of how I do things and what I do, because of growing up with just all of the feelings and all of the thoughts mixed together. So that's where I am on that. And then I talk about this pretty much every episode. But again, I think something might be a little bit off with how my broadcast is working here today. So I probably am going to cut this off here in a minute, and let that be, and try to figure out what is going on, because I'm just like so lost about how this dashboard works. It looks like it's doing one thing, and then it's like it'll do something else. TikTok is very complicated compared to like if you just want to stream to YouTube or something. Like I don't know why it's got to be so complicated. But that said, I'm really, really looking forward to getting these stories further produced, and I'm really looking forward to sharing them with you. If you are into like reviewing books and things like that, reach out to me, and I will send you a digital copy of like Big Bad Wolf, and like you can leave me some reviews, because like I like you don't like, or especially if like you want a copy but you can't afford a copy, reach out, no questions asked. I will send you a copy. That's just like, that's my code. Like, that's how I go. Like, obviously I need to make money, and the paperback, like, it's a paperback and it looks really amazing. And both of them are. And, I do every format, but you can have a digital one for freezies if you can't afford to buy, or if you want to do a review. And that's basically where it is. Yeah, so I'm kind of like having some problems with my voice already, so I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye for now, and I will be back about 2:30 next week. I'm kind of on a streak here because I was having some tech problems before and it all went pretty well, so I will come back next week, hopefully with this making a little bit more sense to me, as I kind of get more of the hang of it, because it is just very confusing. I don't know why you got to select so many things just to go live. It's very odd. But so thanks for hanging out. It was cool to kind of decompress and chill. And I will be back next week. You can catch me on my videos and everything that I'm doing there. And I'm pretty much everywhere else. So find me and we'll talk and hang out and get yourself a copy of The Big Bad Wolf. So bye.